Morning YouTubers, it's 5 o'clock in the morning and finally the day that we get to go through London. We're starting off in Tottenham. We're going to go down the Lee, turn right onto the Hertford Union and then along the Regent's Canal. We're creeping along here steady. Don't want to shake these boats about and wake these people up at this ungodly hour. That wouldn't go down well. Looks like we was lucky to moor up where we did, because there ain't a lot of space up here. If it's like this already, I wonder what the situation's going to be like when we get further into London. But we'll soon see. We're coming up to a set of 2 locks at Tottenham How. The lock on the right is out of action, and it doesn't look like there's any proper lock landings. I've sent Clare up there to just tie off the front of the boat, but taking a closer look, I've changed my mind. I'm going to try and get over there on the right. It's not a lock landing over here. It's like a kind of a wooden beam that's 6 foot away from the towpath. I'm not too impressed with this. We managed to climb off, and Claire's going to hold Aitch while I go round and set the lock up. When I started to reverse up to come over to the left hand lock, there's a strong undercurrent that's pushing the front of Aitch around, and I've got the tiller hard over to the right and a lot of revs on, and if anything it's still going the other way. So I'm just floating along sideways, being pushed. Then, as if by magic, Aitch started to turn. It's no good panicking when things like that happen. If you looked at the river, there's no real indication of the type of undercurrents under there that was pushing me over like that. You keep a level head and you keep persevering, it usually comes out your way. While all this is going on, Claire's standing at the lock watching me go sideways down the river. It must have worried her a little bit. But it's all part of our little adventure. There's no windlass needed here because both ends are mechanical. I'm glad to get through that lock. What a performance! Now we can get back to a bit of normality for a while. We're slowly working our way down into East London. We're at Clapton now. It's a bit different to what I've been used to. but it's still nice. It's all looking a bit more upmarket and gentrified than what I can remember from years back. If you can see any spaces, there must be a reason why no one's moored there, because mark my words, they would have been taken up. Looks like we've picked the right day for this long journey. I know it's still early, but the weather's beautiful. London's starting to wake up with all the traffic that I can see on the towpath. You do get to see some different types of vessels, like this lovely old barge on the left. The bloke on the left is setting up a paddling pool on the roof of his boat. People that live out here on these canals and rivers have a different way of thinking to the norm, which includes me as well. There's quite a lot of weed starting to appear in the river now. The tiller arm is vibrating a little bit, and I'm not getting the drive that I was a little while back. It feels like some of that weed has got wrapped round the prop. I'm going to give it a good burst of reverse, hoping that it clears it. I hope that's done it, because I haven't got a lot of options to pull over and get down the weed hatch. There's no space. That feels a bit better. I'm not sure if that's the old Lesney's factory over there on the left that used to make the Matchbox cars. Someone will have to tell me if they know. Just giving it another burst of reverse just to make sure. That's better. There's West Ham's football ground right in front of us, formerly the 2012 Olympic Stadium. It's built for athletics. It's not a football stadium. The last time I went over there to watch football, there was more atmosphere on the moon. I took Clare fishing over there on the right where that green boat is about 18 years ago, and you was lucky to see a narrowboat then. There's no room to fish there now. We're going to turn right here onto the Hertford Union Canal, and that'll be the first time that I've took Aitch onto a canal. Oh, and by the way, that was the first time that Claire had ever gone fishing, and she caught her first fish, which was a 4-pound tench. Talk about lucky. We're going past Victoria Park, which is a lovely old park in the middle of East London. We've been going down this Hertford Union Canal for quite a while now, and I haven't seen a mooring space, and they're still double moored. We've come off the Hertford Union and we're on the Regent's Canal now. This is getting graffitied as fast as they're building it. We've worked our way along to Hoxton. That used to be one of the poorest areas of London once, but it seems like all the middle classes have moved in here now. It's quite nice. You have to be quite well to do to buy a property in London nowadays. The property prices are going through the roof. This is City Road Lock. It's the 9th lock that we've done so far today. I was just telling Claire to open the gate before she puts the pedal down. It makes it a little bit easier. Some people on the left have found a nice place to sit and have their lunch.
Right, now they're ready to shut the gate and come on the boat.
Just picked Claire up at the lock landing after she shut the gate. And now we're going to be coming up to another first for me and Claire. If you look up into the distance, you can see the entrance of a tunnel. That's Islington Tunnel, which is over a half a mile long. It's a one-way tunnel, so we're going to have to look down to make sure it's clear before we go in there. I'm eager to experience what it's all about going into a tunnel. We're straining to see down there to make sure it's clear. It looks clear to us, so we're going for it. That fascia looks like it's coming away from the tunnel, and they've done a bodge job on it. Anyway, let's see what this is all about. I'm going to give Claire the tiller in a second so I can film back the other way. Didn't even have a chance to pick the camera up and Claire steered us into the wall. I'm going to reverse up so we can get going again. This reminds me of watching one of them old tellies. Them ones that used to go down to a little dot when you turned them off. That's it, we're all straightened up now. Women drivers, I don't know. Took us 14 minutes to get through there. Probably would have been 13 without Claire's little episode. This bloke on the right is asking us if it's clear behind us. We're up the back of King's Cross now, and I think that's Battle Bridge Basin. This looks like Gongoozler heaven. I wonder if they charge for them seats. This is St Pancras Lock. We've been going for over 8 hours now, and you've got thousands of boats in London, and we've seen one boat moving, which is very strange. There's some snazzy old architecture going on over there on the right. They've actually built buildings inside the frames of the gas holders. I'd say we're about in the centre of London. This is the start of like a labyrinth of a load of bridges and tunnels that leads its way up to Camden area. This bridge is too wide for it to be just a road. I would imagine it's for the train tracks going into the big stations like King's Cross and St Pancras. A lot of this looks newly built. Claire's got the Nicholson guide out, trying to get the bridge numbers to work out roughly where we are. She tells me we've got a few more bridges to go until we get to Camden. This is definitely a different view of London that I suppose a lot of people haven't seen, including me. I'm just going to take my time as I'm going through here, because some of it gets quite narrow. Claire informs me that we're in Camden now. There's definitely not enough room for two boats down this little stretch. See another boat coming the other way, so I'm going to toot the horn and put it into reverse. I've managed to stop Aitch, but I don't know what the other boat is doing. Crash! Let's give that a bit of a belt. The bloke on the other boat had a face like a smacked arse. He was looking at me as if that was my fault. I'll be generous and say it was just one of them things. We're coming up to a series of locks here, which none of them are called Camden Lock, but they call the area Camden Lock. That's something I've found out today. Because of the lovely weather today, it's going to be really busy around Camden Lock with gongoozlers and people drinking, so I'm so glad we've got some lock volunteers to help us through.
You want me to come through, yeah?
My colleague awaits.
What's that?
My colleague awaits.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
See you up there. Left hand lock.
Okay,
Left
thank
hand
you,
gate.
mate.
Okay, thank you.
The locky just said to us that the left hand lock is ready for us and they've got the left hand gate open. I've been looking forward to doing this bit on my narrowboat, and I'm really happy that you're going to be coming along with me for the experience. Claire's going to step off at this lock landing and go up and help the lock volunteer. It's been a bit of a baptism of fire today for Claire, and she's had to work hard. And I'm really proud of the way that she's handled it all. I hope that she's enjoyed it as much as I have. It's been a long day so far, and we've still got miles to go before we stop. Let's hope that we don't run out of daylight. The pubs and bars are not as packed as they would have been due to the current regulations that are going on. We're telling Claire to drop the paddle and leave the gate closed and then walk over so she can get on the boat, because there's no real lock landings the other side where I could stop for her. I reckon she's picked up a few tips from working with these lock volunteers for a few locks. She'll be better than me soon, but then again, that won't be too difficult.
Yeah, that way you can get on the boat instead of trying to get the lock.
Just had a good old chat with the lock volunteer while we was waiting for the lock to fill up. What a really nice man.
Someone on. You're not going to stop, are you? Now?
What's that?
You're not going to stop now?
No,
We've got it.
no problem. Thank you very much.
Have a good trip.
Really appreciate it.
There's no locks now until we get near to Uxbridge, so that should help us cover a few miles. I think that'll do it for part one of our adventures through London. We really appreciated you keeping us company, and we hope that you come back for part two of our adventures through London. From me and Claire, see you next time.